First strike. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the helm of the UES Hyperion, Earth's most advanced warship, watching the holographic display as her crew conducted their routine patrol of the Kuiper Belt. After decades of preparation, humanity had finally ventured beyond the solar system's traditional boundaries, carrying with them technologies that would have seemed like science fiction just a generation ago. Captain, we're detecting unusual gravitational distortions at bearing 047. Lieutenant James O'Neill reported from his sensor station, his Irish accent carrying a note of concern. The pattern doesn't match any known natural phenomena. Sarah straightened her uniform, dark eyes narrowing at the display. Show me. The hologram shifted, revealing a series of rippling distortions in spacetime. Before she could order further scans, the distortions exploded into existence as massive vessels emerged from what appeared to be fold space. Their hulls gleamed with an otherworldly metal, covered in geometric patterns that pulsed with internal energy. Battle stations, Sarah ordered calmly, years of training kicking in. Initiate silent running protocols and bring the quantum shield matrix online. The bridge crew responded with practiced efficiency as warning lights bathed the command center in a soft red glow. The Hyperion's revolutionary quantum engines hummed to life, allowing the ship to exist in multiple probable states simultaneously. Humanity's greatest technological achievement and best-kept secret. A transmission cut through their communications, displaying a towering figure with iridescent scales and multiple sets of eyes arranged in geometric patterns. Primitive vessels, this is High Commander Vexthor of the Syndicate Collective. Your species has been observed and found wanting. Submit to immediate integration or face extinction. Sarah kept her expression neutral, though her mind raced with tactical calculations. The Hyperion's quantum systems were already analyzing the alien vessels, probing for weaknesses. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earth ship Hyperion. We are a sovereign species and will defend ourselves if necessary. Harsh, clicking laughter emerged from the alien commander. Defend. With what? Our scans show your vessel operates on basic fusion principles. You have not even mastered basic gravity manipulation. The Syndicate has cleansed 1,000 worlds of such primitive life forms. As if to demonstrate their superiority, one of the Syndicate vessels fired a warning shot, a beam of concentrated plasma that passed close enough to the Hyperion to make the conventional sensors scream in protest. You have one standard rotation of your planet to surrender. Resist, and we will reduce your cities to ash. Vexthor declared before cutting the transmission. Sarah turned to her tactical officer, Lieutenant Commander Maya Patil. What's the analysis? Maya's dark fingers danced across her console, interpreting data from the quantum core. Their technology is advanced, but predictable. They're using a standard tetrahedral formation that suggests they rely heavily on predetermined battle algorithms. The quantum core is already identifying patterns in their shield modulation, and they can't detect our true capabilities. Sarah asked. No, Captain. Chief Engineer Dr. David Wong confirmed from his station. The quantum probability field makes us appear as a simple fusion-powered vessel to their scanners. They have no idea we can manipulate the quantum realm. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Throughout human history, imperious powers had consistently made the same mistake. Assuming technological advancement in one area meant universal superiority. The Syndicate, for all their gravitational mastery and plasma weapons, had just committed the same error. Contact Earth Command, she ordered. Inform them of first contact and request implementation of Defense Protocol Omega. Then broadcast to all crew. Sarah stood, addressing her crew with steady conviction. All hands, this is the captain. In the next 24 hours, we will engage in humanity's first interstellar battle. The enemy believes us to be primitive and weak. They expect us to cower or run. She paused, letting her words sink in. Instead, we will show them why humanity has survived every challenge it has ever faced. We will show them that creativity, determination, and the ability to think beyond conventional boundaries are worth more than any inherited technology. Battle stations, everyone. Let's make history. As her crew prepared for combat, Sarah studied the alien vessels. The Syndicate had no way of knowing that humans had taken a different path to the stars. While other species focused on manipulating gravity and plasma, humanity had cracked the quantum realm itself. The Hyperion didn't just travel through space. It existed in a state of quantum superposition, capable of being in multiple locations simultaneously until observed. In the next few hours, the Syndicate would learn a harsh lesson about underestimating humanity. They would learn that sometimes the most dangerous adversary isn't the one with the biggest weapons, but the one who thinks differently about how to use them. The battle for Earth's future was about to begin, and Sarah Chen intended to show these aliens exactly how primitive humanity could be. The hidden advantage. Deep within the Hyperion's quantum core chamber, Dr. David Wong monitored the swirling patterns of dark energy that powered humanity's greatest technological achievement. The chamber itself seemed to defy physics, existing in multiple quantum states simultaneously. Through reinforced windows, the core appeared to both spin and remain still, a visual representation of quantum superposition. Core stability at 98%, his assistant, Dr. Emily Santos, reported. Quantum entanglement fields are maintaining coherence across all systems. The Syndicate fleet had spread into an attack formation, their ships moving with mechanical precision. They had no idea that every movement they made was being analyzed by systems that could predict probable futures based on quantum calculations. Captain Chen's voice came through the comm system. Dr. Wong, are we ready to show our visitors what humanity has been working on? David smiled, his fingers dancing across holographic controls. Quantum combat systems are online, Captain. Ready to initiate battlefield probability calculations. On the bridge, Sarah Chen watched as the alien ships began their approach. The Syndicate's arrogance was about to cost them dearly. Lieutenant Commander Patel, implement combat pattern Schrödinger. Maya's hands flew across her tactical console. Pattern Schrödinger engaged, Captain. Quantum probability field extending. The Hyperion's response to the Syndicate's first real attack was something no alien targeting system could have predicted. As plasma beams lanced out from multiple Syndicate vessels, the human ship seemed to blur, existing in multiple positions simultaneously. Every shot passed through empty space, hitting nothing but quantum echoes. Impossible. Vexthor's voice boomed across the communication channels. No fusion-based technology could achieve such movement. Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. You're right, Commander. That's why we don't use fusion for propulsion. Lieutenant O'Neill, show them what humans can do with quantum mechanics. The Hyperion's main weapon systems came online. Unlike conventional energy weapons, these fired projectiles that existed in quantum superposition until impact. The Syndicate's advanced shields, designed to stop normal matter and energy, might as well have been tissue paper. The first volley struck 3 Syndicate ships simultaneously. Their shields flared brilliantly, trying to stop weapons that technically didn't exist in normal space until they had already passed through the barriers. Secondary explosions rippled across the alien vessels as quantum state torpedoes materialized inside their hull plating. Their formation is breaking, Maya reported, excitement evident in her voice. Their battle computers can't formulate an effective response. They've never encountered weapons that violate causality. In the quantum core chamber, David and Emily worked frantically to maintain the ship's quantum field. Captain, David called out, we're picking up something interesting. Their ships are linked through some kind of quantum-resistant communication network. If we can isolate the command frequencies. Do it, Sarah ordered. Maya, keep them off balance. James, I want targeting solutions for their communication arrays. The battle had devolved into chaos, at least from the Syndicate's perspective. Their perfectly coordinated fleet movements had been reduced to individual ships trying to cope with an enemy that seemed to ignore the basic laws of physics. Every time they thought they had a lock on the Hyperion's position, quantum probability fields would shift, and the ship would appear elsewhere. Warning shot across their flagship's bow. Sarah commanded, "Let's show them we could have ended this already if we wanted to." A quantum torpedo materialized meters from Vex Thor's command ship, detonating in a display of technological superiority that couldn't be ignored. The alien commander's voice, when it came through again, had lost its condescending tone. "What are you?" Vex Thor demanded. "No primitive species could have developed this technology without our detection." Sarah stood from her command chair, her voice firm. "We are human, Commander. While you were busy conquering primitive species, we were pushing the boundaries of quantum physics. We don't need gravity manipulation when we can exist in multiple quantum states. We don't need plasma weapons when our projectiles can bypass your shields through probability manipulation. Your laws of war," Vex Thor began, "don't apply to us," Sarah finished. "You came to our home, threatened our people, and expected us to bow down because you've bullied other species into submission. That was your first mistake. Your second was assuming that technological advancement only follows one path." The Syndicate ships had drawn closer together, a defensive formation that spoke of uncertainty. Their perfectly coordinated battle plans had been shattered by an enemy they couldn't predict or counter. "Dr. Wong," Sarah called out, "are you ready to show them what happens when they network their ships against a species that understands quantum entanglement?" "Ready, Captain," David replied. "Emily has isolated their command frequencies. One pulse from our quantum core should disrupt their entire network." Sarah looked at the alien fleet, now frozen in indecision. "Last chance, Commander Vex Thor. Withdraw your forces and acknowledge humanity's sovereignty, or we'll be forced to demonstrate just how primitive we really are." The silence that followed was broken only by the hum of the quantum core, as humanity waited to see if their first interstellar conflict would end in peace, or a demonstration of just how far they'd advanced beyond conventional warfare. Counterattack. The silence that had fallen over the battlefield shattered as new alarms blared across the Hyperion's bridge. Multiple quantum signatures detected. Lieutenant O'Neill reported. Large-scale fleet emergence detected at the edge of the system. Sarah Chen's expression hardened as the holographic display filled with dozens of new contacts. The Syndicate's main battle fleet had arrived. Massive ships that dwarfed even Vex Thor's command vessel. But alongside them, appearing from quantum probability fields identical to the Hyperion's, came humanity's response. UES Artemis reporting in. A familiar voice crackled through the comm. "Sorry we're late to the party, Sarah." Admiral Helena Rodriguez, commanding Earth's first quantum fleet, had arrived. "Right on schedule, Admiral," Sarah replied, allowing herself a small smile. "I trust Earth Command approved Protocol Omega." Unanimously, Helena confirmed. "The quantum defense grid is online. Time to show the Syndicate why it's dangerous to back humans into a corner." Around Earth and its colonies, hidden quantum satellites activated, creating an interlocking network of probability fields. Dr. Wong's voice came through from the core chamber, excitement evident despite his professional tone. "Captain, the QDG is sensing with our systems. We're achieving quantum coherence across the entire fleet." Vex Thor's voice boomed across all channels, but this time there was an edge of desperation beneath the arrogance. "This changes nothing. Your handful of ships cannot stand against the might of the Syndicate Armada. We have conquered galaxies." "And that's exactly your weakness," Sarah responded. "You've relied on overwhelming force for so long, you've forgotten how to innovate. Maya, initiate Protocol Omega. Let's show them what happens when humanity works together." The quantum defense grid activated, and space itself seemed to shiver. The human ships didn't just coordinate. They quantum entangled, sharing information and acting with impossible synchronization. Each vessel became a node in a vast quantum network, able to predict and respond to threats before they even materialized. In the quantum core chamber, David and Emily worked frantically to maintain the complex quantum fields. "The entanglement is holding," Emily reported. "The Syndicate's targeting systems are completely confused. They can't tell which ship is real and which is a quantum echo. The Syndicate fleet opened fire, filling space with a dazzling array of plasma beams and graviton torpedoes. But they were fighting an enemy that could calculate every possible outcome and choose the most favorable one. Human ships seemed to dance through the barrage, their movements guided by quantum probability calculations that bordered on precognition. Their flagship is attempting to coordinate a concentrated attack, Maya reported from Tactical. They're trying to adapt their strategies. Too late, Sarah replied. Dr. Wong, implement the quantum virus. David's fingers flew across his console. Quantum virus deploying. Their networked systems won't know what hit them. The virus, a piece of code that existed in quantum superposition, propagated through the Syndicate's communication network. Their highly coordinated fleet began to fall into disarray as ships received multiple contradictory orders simultaneously, each equally valid in quantum space. Admiral Rodriguez's voice came through again. All ships, commence Operation Checkmate. Show them what happens when you cornered humanity. The human fleet moved as one, their quantum-enhanced weapons finding gaps in the Syndicate's defenses that shouldn't have existed. Ships that had conquered 1,000 worlds found themselves unable to land a single hit on vessels that seemed to exist everywhere and nowhere at once. In the midst of the chaos, Sarah noticed something strange in the sensor readings. Dr. Wong, are you seeing this? These energy patterns in their command ship. Yes, David confirmed, his voice thoughtful. Captain, I don't think we're the first species to experiment with quantum mechanics, but their understanding is incomplete. They're using it for communication only, never realizing its full potential. Sarah's mind raced with the implications. Maya, target their command ship's quantum communication array. Not to destroy, just disrupt. Let's show them what they missed. The Hyperion's quantum weapons fired with surgical precision, causing the Syndicate flagship's quantum array to cascade into multiple probability states. For a moment, Vexthor's ship existed in several locations at once, an effect the Syndicate had never intended or prepared for. By the first ones, Vexthor's voice came through, all pretense of superiority gone. How did you? This technology was supposed to be impossible to weaponize. Impossible, Sarah replied. Humanity has built its history on doing the impossible. We went from horse-drawn carriages to spaceflight in less than 70 years. Did you really think we'd stop innovating just because someone told us something couldn't be done? The battle had reached its turning point. The Syndicate fleet, their coordinated tactics shattered by quantum warfare they barely understood, began to pull back. But Sarah knew this wasn't over. It was merely the beginning of humanity's emergence onto the galactic stage. Breaking point. Admiral Helena Rodriguez's voice cut through the chaos of battle. Captain Chen, we're detecting massive energy buildups in the Syndicate fleet. They're preparing something big. From her position on the Hyperion's bridge, Sarah watched as the alien ships began a complex reorganization. The remaining vessels moved into a spiral formation around their flagship, their hull patterns pulsing with increasing intensity. Dr. Wong, Sarah called out, analysis. In the quantum core chamber, David studied the readings with growing concern. They're attempting to create a massive quantum field, Captain. Similar to ours, but cruder, more brute force than finesse. Emily, run a probability simulation. Simulation complete. Emily responded, her voice tense. They're trying to create a quantum singularity. If they succeed, it could tear apart our quantum defense grid. The Syndicate ships began to glow with an otherworldly light as they channeled energy into their flagship. Vexthor's voice boomed across all frequencies, but now it carried a hint of desperation beneath the anger. You forced our hand, humans. This technique has destroyed entire civilizations. Your quantum tricks cannot save you from the void itself. Sarah's mind raced through options as she watched the energy readings climb. The Syndicate was willing to risk destroying themselves just to prove their superiority. Classic desperation of a power that had never faced a real challenge. Dr. Wong, she called out. Could we use their own quantum field against them? Yes, yes. David's excitement was palpable. Their field is unstable, built on incomplete understanding. If we can synchronize our quantum core with their frequency and introduce a controlled uncertainty principle. Do it, Sarah ordered. Admiral Rodriguez, we need the fleet to maintain the quantum defense grid. The Hyperion will handle this. Acknowledged, Captain, Helena replied. Give them hell. Sarah turned to her tactical officer. Maya, plot us a course directly into their formation. James, I want all sensors focused on their quantum field harmonics. Captain, Maya's voice held a note of concern. If we get this wrong, then Earth's first quantum ship goes down fighting. Sarah finished. But we won't get it wrong. This is what humans do. We take risks, we innovate, we find solutions where others see only problems. The Hyperion moved forward, its own quantum field rippling as it approached the spiral of syndicate ships. In the core chamber, David and Emily worked frantically to align their systems with the alien quantum field. Their singularity is reaching critical mass. James reported from sensors. 30 seconds to full manifestation. Dr. Wong, Sarah asked, keeping her voice steady. Almost there, David replied. Emily, route auxiliary power to the quantum harmonics. We need perfect synchronization. The space between the ships began to distort as two quantum fields interacted. The syndicate vessels shuddered, their crews unprepared for the subtle manipulations the humans were introducing into their crude attempt at quantum warfare. Now, David shouted, quantum field synchronized, introducing Heisenberg uncertainty parameters. The effect was immediate and spectacular. The syndicate's attempt to create a quantum singularity backfired, as the Hyperion's more sophisticated understanding of quantum mechanics introduced controlled chaos into their calculations. Instead of collapsing into a destructive void, their quantum field began to resonate with human frequencies. Impossible. Vexthor's voice cracked with disbelief. Our calculations were perfect. How are you doing this? That's your problem, Commander, Sarah replied calmly. Perfect calculations don't exist in quantum mechanics. There's always uncertainty. We learned to work with it, while you tried to force the quantum realm to obey your rules. The syndicate formation began to break apart as their ships lost control of the quantum energies they had unleashed. The Hyperion's more sophisticated systems acted like a conductor, directing the chaos away from both fleets and into harmless quantum fluctuations. In that moment of crisis, watching humanity's technology and understanding surpass an empire that had conquered galaxies, Sarah understood something profound. The syndicate's greatest weakness wasn't their technology. It was their mindset. They had stopped learning, stopped adapting, confident in their superiority. Humanity, always questioning, always pushing boundaries, had surpassed them without them even realizing it was possible. As the quantum storm subsided, leaving the syndicate fleet in disarray, Sarah opened a channel to all ships. This is Captain Chen. Your attempt to destroy us has failed. Now shall we discuss terms for peace, or would you like another demonstration of how primitive humanity can be? Victory's price. Silence hung in space as the syndicate fleet drifted, their quantum systems scattered by humanity's superior understanding of the technology they had thought they mastered. On the Hyperion's bridge, Captain Chen waited patiently for Vexthor's response. Dr. Wong, she called out quietly, what's the status of their fleet? Their quantum network is completely destabilized, David replied from the core chamber. They couldn't coordinate another attack if they wanted to. But Captain, we're detecting something strange from their flagship. Emily, can you confirm these readings? Confirmed. Emily's voice held a note of wonder. Their quantum core, it's ancient. The technology patterns, they're not syndicate in origin. Before Sarah could respond, Vexthor's image appeared on the main screen. The alien commander looked different now, defeated, but also curious. How long? He asked simply. How long has your species known about quantum mechanics? We discovered the basics less than 2 centuries ago, Sarah replied honestly. We achieved quantum computing 50 years later. The first quantum drive was developed 10 years ago. A sound like bitter laughter came from the alien commander. 2 centuries. We found our quantum core in the ruins of a dead civilization 10,000 years ago. We learned to use it, to copy it, but never to truly understand it. And you surpassed our knowledge in 2 centuries. Admiral Rodriguez's voice cut in. Captain Chen, we're detecting changes in their flagship's energy signature. They're powering down all weapon systems. Sarah studied Vexthor's image carefully. Commander, are you surrendering? Surrendering. Vexthor's multiple eyes blinked in sequence. No, Captain. I am offering you something far more valuable. Knowledge. He paused, mandibles clicking softly. The quantum core we discovered. It was left by beings we called the precursors. They vanished eons ago, leaving only fragments of their technology scattered across the galaxy. We built an empire trying to understand their secrets. Understanding dawned on Sarah. And now you've found a species that independently developed the same technology. More than that, Vexthor replied. You've surpassed our understanding. Your quantum manipulation. It's closer to what we've seen in precursor ruins than anything we've achieved in 10,000 years. In the quantum core chamber, David and Emily exchanged glances. Captain, David called out. He's right. The basic principles of their quantum core. They're similar to ours, but it's like comparing a copied painting to an original. They've been imitating technology they don't fully understand. Sarah straightened in her command chair. What are you proposing, Commander? An exchange, Vexthor said. We will share all our knowledge of the precursors, all the artifacts we've discovered. In return, we ask for your help in understanding them. Perhaps this is why we found your world. Not to conquer, but to learn. Admiral Rodriguez's voice was cautious. This could be a trick, Sarah. No, Sarah replied, certainty in her voice. Their actions make sense now. They'd been searching the galaxy for answers about technology they found but couldn't fully grasp. When they detected our quantum emissions, they assumed we must be hiding precursor technology too. She turned back to Vexthor. But we weren't hiding anything, were we? We simply took a different path to the same destination. And surpassed us, Vexthor acknowledged. Our empire was built on borrowed knowledge. Yours was built on understanding. The choice is yours, Captain Chen. Will humanity share its insights with a former enemy? Sarah looked around her bridge at the faces of her crew, humans who had pushed the boundaries of physics and redefined what was possible. Then she looked at Vexthor, seeing not an enemy now but a seeker of knowledge who had finally found what their empire had been searching for. Commander, she said finally, humanity has always believed that knowledge should be shared, that understanding grows when different perspectives come together. We accept your proposal, with conditions. The Syndicate must acknowledge Earth's sovereignty and end its policy of conquering primitive species. Agreed, Vexthor replied without hesitation. Perhaps it is time for the Syndicate to learn a new way of existing in the galaxy. As the details of the agreement were worked out, Sarah reflected on how differently this first contact had ended from how it began. Humanity had proven itself not just through superior technology or military might, but through its fundamental approach to knowledge and progress. Dr. Wong, she called out, prepare a team to study the Syndicate's quantum core. Let's see what we can learn from each other. Already on it, Captain, David replied eagerly. Emily and I have some theories about integrating their ancient technology with our modern understanding. Sarah smiled. This was humanity at its best, turning enemies into allies, sharing knowledge instead of hoarding it, always pushing forward to understand more. They had won more than a battle today. They had opened a door to a future where human innovation and creativity could help reshape the galaxy itself. The stars seemed to shine a little brighter as the human and Syndicate ships began their cautious cooperation. embarking together on humanity's next great adventure.